Hello and welcome to Glorious Marriage. We're your co-hosts, Johnny and Lori Thomason, and we are going to be with you for these next several minutes going over some things to help you and your spouse to have a glorious marriage.
Hey, we're so glad you're tuned in. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. If you're watching the video, if it's on Facebook, be sure to like it and share it. Keep driving down the road if you're driving down the road and just check the Facebook page. There we go.
That's right.
All right, let's jump into this today, this glorious marriage. Hey, in order to have a glorious marriage, you need to have some good communication.
That's right. So that's what we're going to talk about this episode because it is very important to be able to communicate effectively. I've got a little note in my notebook one time that you made the comment
I did.
that you said, I'm great at communication. I'm a good talker. And you are a good speaker, talker. But being a good talker is not the same as being a good communicator.
Good. I'm glad you reminded me of that. That's good because we all need to brush up on communication skills.
You know, we always do, Johnny.
Yeah.
And that's why I know that we've talked about communication quite a bit in the past on this program, but it always serves as a good refresher for all of us, or maybe this is the first time you've tuned into this program, but there's something for us to all be reminded about because communication is very important. It is a foundation to having a glorious marriage.
Amen.
Because if you can't communicate, it's likened to cracks in your foundation of your marriage. If left unattended, it can cause crumbling. It can cause decay to cause that foundation to just fall apart. So
if you can communicate well with your wife, then you can communicate well with your children.
Sure.
Your grown children, your grandchildren. You can communicate with your
Co-workers,
co-workers.
anybody.
And if you're a teacher or you're a preacher or you're a leader of any kind, you have to know how to communicate the vision or the goals or whatever it is, and that's what I desire more than anything. And that's why I'm saying I'm teachable. I want to learn more. Yeah. If I can learn how to communicate with Lori better, I want to do it. I don't know it all. Yeah. I'm not there. I encourage all of us, everybody, to desire to be teachable.
Sure.
In order to be a better teacher, to be a better communicator, to be able to set the goals of your company, to be able to hit the vision of your family, your life, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I desire that, man. Whenever I pray, whenever I teach or I preach or whatever, I always ask the Lord, please effectively communicate in and through me. You know, we just always need to brush up on that. Yeah. So, and we're not getting on anybody. We're just saying, hey, if you're good at it, let's get better at it. Yeah. Okay, let's go, Mama.
Well, one way to get better at it, we're going to look at some scripture, Johnny. I'm going to look first at Proverbs chapter 15, verse 28. I'm going to read it in a couple of different translations. First, the New Living Translation says that the heart of the godly thinks carefully before speaking. That's very important to do. Think before you speak. We've all heard that. The mouth of the wicked overflows with evil words. So I like that translation. Because it does kind of mimic that saying that we've all heard, think before you speak. But also, I like in New King James, it says, the heart of the righteous studies how to answer, but the mouth of the wicked pours forth evil. Oh. And I like this translation because of that word studies. You know, we encourage couples when we're meeting with them, always continually study one another. Find out the likes and dislikes and what makes them tick and all of that. So, but the heart of the righteous studies how to answer. We don't just
whatever comes to your mind flow out your mouth.
Think about it.
How many times have you tried to make a post or began to make a post, you finished the post, then looked at it, read it, and then deleted it?
And then you're like,
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
You see, and that's what that is, that study. And so, and that's making a post. But if you could stop what you're saying before you spew to your spouse.
Absolutely.
Oh man, and think about that, how that makes you look in front of your boss or your coworkers or something. If you just, whatever enters in your mind first, you spill that out. Oh man.
Well, or to even think about the tone that you deliver it in, or the body language, that's communication. Body language, we're still communicating. So
that's good.
Communication, the definition of that word is the act or process of communicating, or the fact of something being communicated. It's also the imparting or interchange of thoughts, opinions, or information by speech, writing, or some type of sign, sometimes, or something that's imparted, interchanged, or transmitted. And for sure, body language plays a big part of that. Facial expressions play a big part of that. Our tone, just how do we say things, because sometimes we get in a hurry and things come across the wrong way. It's not even the way we meant it, but it can be, it can come across as, being a certain way. So the other scripture that I want to look at, Johnny, is one that I refer to quite often, but it's Proverbs chapter 15, verse 1. And it says that a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So just by our tone, just by the way that we answer one another, the way that we communicate, we can either diffuse a situation or we can pour more fuel on the fire, so to speak. So if it's already kind of getting into a heated discussion, then we don't want to pour more fuel on the fire by answering haughtily or answering sarcastically or different ways like that are actually pouring more fuel on the fire. But we can diffuse the situation. A soft answer turns away wrath. Now we have to be cautious, in that we don't want it, like I said, sarcasm.
Hey, real quick, in verse 2.
Yes.
Of 15, Proverbs 15, verse 2.
Yes, sir.
Let me read the two together, because it just flows.
Sure.
I mean, I know what we're talking about, turning away. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Verse 2 says this: the tongue of the wise uses knowledge rightly,
that's good.
but the mouth of the fools pour forth foolishness. Think about that. That goes right along with what you're saying.
Yeah.
A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word can stir up anger.
Yeah.
And the tongue of the wise uses knowledge rightly. And that's what I want to be, is rightly. Knowledge. Use that knowledge rightly. There's a wrong knowledge and there's a right knowledge. Let's use it rightly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, the proper way. Well, and honestly, Johnny, that whole chapter 15 of Proverbs, I mean, I can just look down through here, just even looking at verse 18, it says, a wrathful man stirs up strife, but he who is slow to anger allays contention. And, we want to be known as...
well, how about verse 4? How about this? A wholesome tongue is a tree of life. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life. But the perverseness in it breaks the spirit.
Yeah. Well, and that word wholesome means healing. A healing
tongue is a tree of life. So see, that's what we want to be to our spouse.
Yeah.
That's it. That is so good. There's so much in this.
Yeah.
Oh, keep going.
I mean, honestly, literally, we could read this whole chapter, Proverbs chapter 15. There is so much, well, it's a word, that's why it's so good, but that would be my encouragement. A lot of times we'll issue homework to people, so that's our homework to you listening today, to just take a fresh look at Proverbs chapter 15 and how it deals with your marriage. A lot of times, we can look at it and apply it personally or in a work setting or whatever. Right. But I encourage you and challenge you to read chapter 15, Proverbs chapter 15, but think about it from a marriage standpoint. How does this affect me dealing with my spouse and dealing with our marriage and communicating effectively with my spouse, so that we have a glorious marriage? I don't want to, and I find myself doing that, Johnny, if I'm distracted, if I'm tired,
right,
if I'm hungry,
oh yeah,
if I'm in a hurry. A lot of times, circumstances can cause me to deal or communicate with you in a not very effective manner.
Sure.
Now, is that right? No. It is an excuse, but it's not a good excuse.
Right. Yeah.
Because we really should take a step back. But
I think a lot of times they communicate the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I think that's where we miss it as humans, because you just pointed out a lot of areas where, you're tired, you're hungry, you're in a hurry, whatever the case may be. In your mind and in your thoughts, you love your spouse and you're doing the right thing, but you're working hard. You got kids, you got a lot going on. You have to get to the next place. There's a lot of things going on. So you communicate improperly, although you are communicating. It's just improper. You're sending the wrong message, so to speak, because you and I know each other a lot, and I know sometimes when you're hungry, I know sometimes when you're tired, I know sometimes when you're stressed, and I can sense that, and so you'll say something, or you'll communicate in body language or something, and a lot of times I'm thinking, well, man, what's her deal? What did I do? Because I'm thinking, well, what I do to tick her off? And I'm thinking, well, no, we hadn't eaten yet, or it's been a long day, or see, and that's just the deal. I don't read anything into it, in other words, and that's what we should not do, is read in there. Because if you're human, it's called grace. It's something you don't deserve, but I'm going to grant you that grace that, hey, she's had a rough day, she's had a lot on her plate, we haven't eaten yet, she snapped.
You don't feed me like you used to.
She snapped at me. Don't read anything into that. Just don't. And if there's an issue, you can communicate it. Then that goes into conflict resolution. But I'm saying and that's part of communication. What are you saying? What message are you sending to your spouse when you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're upset, see, that's the deal. You have to communicate why you're the way you are. Well, we hadn't got to eat. I missed lunch. I had a busy, that's called communicate. Tell me the reason why.
Well, and it's putting that flesh in check, because even though I'm hungry, even though I'm tired, even though I'm distracted,
that's not a ticket to treat someone terribly.
Exactly. I need to crucify my flesh, keep me in check, reel me in, as you say, reel myself in, and practice this, a soft answer. I want to reply with a soft answer, not just to turn away wrath, but just
a soft answer.
You don't deserve to be lashed out at. You don't deserve to take the tongue lashing for something else that's affected me on the peripheral. So I just need to reel myself in, tame my tongue, tame my tone, tame my...
If we could all do that, things would be better. And people could communicate better, not be all mad at each other and divisive and this and that. Because we're gifts to God to one another. So let's work on our communication. Let's let's brush up on it, so to speak.
Well, I think about with holidays coming up on us, and that can tend to be a stressful time anyway, with just things coming up, extra activities, just life happening, during
the sun not shining as many hours.
Yes, that
creates a little bit of stress,
that really is true, but that's another program for another day. But do think about that. This won't be the last time we talk about communication, I know. So until the next time.
Hey, go throw another log on the fire.